With the NHL's trade deadline behind us and just under 6 weeks remaining in the regular season, it's time to put out an early plea to the many-faced hockey gods with some playoff wishes. He's Pete Blackburn. I'm Frank Seravalli of dailyfaceoff.com. And Pete, if we're going to set up the playoffs the way we'd like to see it, I got to go first and say my first playoff wish is a reboot of the Hudson River rivalry. Devils, Rangers, for the first time since the 2012 Eastern Conference Final. Put these two teams on the other side of the river against each other, two teams that have loaded up at the deadline. Timo Meier and Jack Hughes against Artemi Panarin and Patrick Kane. Take all of that and inject it directly into my veins.
Yeah, I think that most hockey fans are probably looking at that matchup and asking for it too. And, Rangers, Devils fans don't like each other. I think that it's going to be quite a contentious series if that does happen. First item on my wish list, I'm going to stay in New York, but I'm going to go much further north, and I'm going to say I want the Buffalo Sabres in the playoffs for the first time in 12 years. I think that this year's Buffalo Sabres are pound for pound the most entertaining team in the NHL, for better or for worse. They score a ton. They don't play a lot of defense, so a lot of goals in Buffalo Sabres games. You've got Tage Thompson, who's emerging as a nightly highlight reel for the Sabres, and so superstar aspect there. And I honestly think that they're probably the most entertaining option of any of the wild card teams in terms of providing a quality matchup in the first round. Do I think they'll win? No, but I think that there's an opportunity for a young team that's emerging to get some valuable playoff experience. I want the Sabres in the playoffs. Let's get crazy.
Yeah, I mean, quite literally, tired is the Islanders and the Penguins, and wired would be the Sabres and the Ottawa Senators, two teams certainly on the rise. Mark Pete Blackburn down as a believer in Buffalo. Heading out west, I'd like to see a first-round rematch of the Los Angeles Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. That series had no business going 7 games last year. Edmonton just has so much on the line this year as they sort of toyed around with the Kings. Connor McDavid started that incredible playoff run that he was on with that Game 7 win against the Kings. And this year, I think the Kings are a much better team, and now they actually have gone out and gotten a goaltender in Joonas Korpisalo. They've improved their blue line at the deadline with Vladislav Gavrikov, and the Oilers, they feel like they're a better, stronger, more balanced team with someone like Matthias Ekholm on their back end. I think that would be a sneaky good first-round matchup.
I agree, and I'm going to build off of that one. The item that I have on my wish list here, just give me as much Connor McDavid as possible, right? Because the season that he's having is absurd. He's setting career highs in goals and points, which is insane because McDavid already set the bar extremely high for himself. And when you talk about what we haven't gotten over the years because of the Oilers and their mismanagement, we haven't gotten a lot of deep playoff runs. And last year, we saw the Oilers build some momentum, and we saw Connor McDavid start to build his postseason legacy, right? Because he led the playoffs in scoring last year, despite only playing in 16 games, averaged over 2 points a game in that playoff run. I want to see him build off that, especially with the year that he's having this year. And if I could fine-tune it a little bit more, I want a rematch of Colorado and Edmonton in the Western Conference Final, because for all the talk that we've had about the East being superior to the West this season, I still think that matchup in the Western Conference Final puts asses in the seats because of the star power, because of McKinnon versus McDavid, and then the secondary talent that's there. I want to see that matchup ran back, and I think that we might get a more entertaining and competitive series than the 4-game sweep that we saw last season.
I mean, freak of nature in Connor McDavid against force of nature in Nathan McKinnon for year 2. I can almost guarantee you, Pete, that this year the Oilers would not go out with a whimper in a 4-game sweep. Amen to our prayers.